Kathmandu is closer than anything else in the world because this is the place where I grew up. This is the place where I discovered my element. Kathmandu is the place where I understood who I am. So it's very important in a very special way. When I came here and I saw this huge chariot being pulled by kind of crazy crowd, you know, I couldn't believe my eyes. I said, my God, what a sight, you know. That was one of the most amazing incidents I can ever forget. You know. When you live in Kathmandu, you cannot, if you are a writer, you cannot stay away from the main cultural commotion that takes place here. So the more groups we have, better. And Kathmandu is placed for that. For a writer, I think it's very fertile ground. Yeah, Kathakakalp is a literary movement that I launched with my friend Shailendra Sakar. First of all, everybody, as I said, in Nepal is a poet. And you go to any place and you have a poet there. Anywhere you go, you know, he will start writing. He will recite a Munna Madan or read a poem to you or a ghazal. You know, Nepal is such a vibrant place. But if you go to any poetry reading in Kathmandu, you will easily understand that most of the poets are reading almost the same poem. And you will see the echoes of Rimal or Bhupi very easily. You will find everybody writes almost the same poem. Everybody has the same, like they have like few subjects. Like say the people who go out, Mughlan, nationalism, or the Gurkhas. So we wanted to bring a change in the content of Nepalese, but we have to present them in a better light, and also we have to explore new grounds. So we try to change the landscape of Nepalese literature. So we try to write poems which would bring new content into Nepali literature, Nepali poetry. So that was our movement. Well, this was a very special experience because in London Olympics, they were celebrating this London Olympics with a special gathering of poets from 204 countries. So there were poets from all Olympic nations. And they had brought this anthology out, which is called the World Record. And they had our poems, like one of my poems and other poets from all over the world. They had it from the sky. The helicopter dropped on the Jubilee Garden. And the people get like having the rain of poems. It's an installation as opposed to World War, where London was bombed with, he was bombed with real bombs. But now they're bombing London with poems. So it's such a sweet revenge. And they did a similar thing in Berlin. So they bombed Berlin with poems. It's a place, somebody in Chilean group of artists who organized this. And they made it part of the Poetry Parnassus. Poetry Parnassus was a very special thing because poets from all over the world were there. There was Wole Soyinka, there was Shimashini, and there were poets from the countries I didn't even know the names of the nations, So which was such a sweet thing. So it was very, very special, living on a South Bank, talking to each other and trying to explore each other's world. And it was a very, very special thing. Nepal's poetry scenario is very special and very vibrant. First of all, everybody writes poetry, but everybody is publishing a book. Almost every week I get a book of poems. But nobody gets paid. These poets are investing their own money. Somebody is investing their wife's earring, or they're selling their mother's bangle, they are selling their land to publish poetry. And it's a madness. It's kind of whole crazy thing. Poetry is worshipped. Poets are not, which is crazy. So being a poet is a big thing. In Europe or in America, most of the poets who get published are funded by the government. Art Council or the National Endowment would pay for it. You will never see any poet being published without any support from the government. Well, my mother said when I was very young, she said, "Son, never do anything. Never do any business, never do anything. You will never succeed. You're so gullible, you're so simple." And I think she was right. And all I can do is poetry. The poetry is my element and poetry is what I can do. So I think I always follow her advice, never try to go into something big. I think poetry is my mission, so I will follow it. And I'm a poet and I continue to be a poet. And I think that's my destiny. I would like to be remembered as a little poet from a little nation, from a little farthest end of the world. That's what I like to be remembered.